Yamaha is known for making exceptional, real professional keyboards, and the Motif series was a huge success. And in this video, I'm going to share with you which one of the series or which one of the Motif keyboard I believe is the king of the Motif series. So Yamaha started out with the Motifs in 2001, I believe, with that Motif line. And when they started out, that was like a hot selling keyboard. It was everywhere, on every stage. Motifs were just, all over the place. After the Motif, they came out with the ES, and that was at another level. Some of the small shortcomings in the Motif, they improved that on the ES. And then after the ES, they came out with the XS. And then in I'm not sure which year, you can comment and let me know, but they came out with the XF. And now the Motif line is discontinued. So I would start out by saying that these are all professional keyboards sounding great. And people will die to have a Motif, in their arsenal of keyboards. Now, the original Motif, what we call today the classic Motif, like I said, when it came out, it was new. And let me give you a backstory. I wasn't a huge Yamaha fan. To be honest, I was more a Roland fan. I believe because my first keyboard was a Roland, and I got so used to, how Roland think, that I was stuck and locked into Roland. And I started playing in I started playing in the 90s. I believe in 1996, 97. That's when I started playing. My first keyboard was a Roland, so I was always a Roland lover. I love Roland keyboards. And more so in the 90s, I believe Yamaha was kind of on the quiet side. I believe they were probably in the lab developing this keyboard that would eventually, jump out on the scene in 2000. But in the 90s, Yamaha was a bit quiet, and Roland had the XP series, the XP80. And I believe, again, in my humble opinion, that the XP80 dominated that in the 90s. Yamaha was still there. They had the DX7 and those keyboards, but XP80 was a good series for Roland. So I was a Roland fan, and even more so, there was a sound that I was just hearing on records, and I couldn't figure out which sound was that. But I came to realize that it was the Roland MKS20. No, that came out in 1986, I believe, and it's still sorted after even to date. So it's a staple, especially in gospel music. So I was a Roland fan. So when Yamaha came out in 2001 with the Motif, I was still stuck in Roland. This keyboard was everywhere, but I was still, hoping that Roland would come out with something. And I was waiting, and then they came out with the Phantom, the original Phantom Classic. And that was the keyboard I got. And I was playing it. I was trying to convince myself that it was better than the Motif, but I came to realize that it wasn't. And I still have that keyboard today. Still love it, as a second keyboard. So back to it now. After the Motif dominated that first couple of years, and the sounds are stellar, crisp sound, nice sounds, and they had the Power Grand on the original Motif, and that dominated. It was on every record. And then they came out with the ES now, and the ES was also a big top seller. even to date, trust me, it's all over. And it was a good, great keyboard. And the classic was still in the analog, even though it's a digital keyboard, but it was still in the analog era, and sounded great. I loved it. After a while, I got to love the keyboard. And the ES now was coming out of the analog into digital. It still had a little analog, but it was a mixture. And man, I'm telling you, that mixture was rich. The reverb within that thing is amazing. Trust me. Now, after ES, they went over to the XS, which I believe it was a new era for Yamaha when they, totally jumped all the way into that digital world. And, I'm just using my ear. I'm no expert in sound or how to create sound or engineering sound or none of that. I'm just talking from what I'm hearing, and I've played all these boards, and like I said, they are great boards. But that jump into the digital world with the XS, I think Yamaha was still, testing the waters, and I don't think they got everything right there by just jumping totally into the digital world. But still it was a great keyboard, and it was there. It didn't overtake the ES, I don't believe, but it was still there. Great keyboard, and persons loved it, and so on. But shortly after, Yamaha came out with the XF, which was the last Motif. And yes, they got it there. The XF was crisp and nice, sweet keyboard. I've played the XF 6. I've never played the 7. I've played the 8, and it great keyboard, awesome feeling, great sounds. And for me, in a keyboard, you have to have I would say, distinct piano sound. That that's when you talk about that keyboard, you talk about that piano sound. For the classic, it was the power grand. For the ES, it was the full grand. And that sound, I love it. It's hard for me to choose between the power grand and the full grand, but I kind of love the full grand for my kind of playing. The power grand, exceptional, and it cut through the mix very nicely. So, two great pianos. Now the XF, the XS, right? The XS has the full concert grand. I believe that's the piano that they came down with that one. And like I said, the sound engine in the XS is a bit different, I believe, from my ear perspective. It's different from the ES. For me, the ES feels much more like you're playing an acoustic kind of instrument, and the XS is more digitized. So two different worlds. So yeah, the full concert grand and the sound engine that's coming through, it sounds a little different than the ES. So those are the four keyboards: the classic, Motif Classic, ES, the XS, and XF, right? So which one is the king? Now, as you can see, I'm still stuck with the ES. As you can see in my studio, I still use the ES, and that's my keyboard of choice. I've played all of them. I've played the classic, played the ES of course, and the XF, and I've played the XS. And the one that I love more, I always go back to, is the ES. That sound, that full grand sound, giving that natural sounding, like that acoustic kind of instrument. I just always go back to the ES. So what do I love about the ES? First of all, the the sound quality. Yeah, the sound quality of the ES. I just love. I don't know what engine they have in here. That's sending out the sound, but the sound is just crisp, and I just love how rich the sound is. Another thing I love about the ES is that every sound, every patch, every voice in the keyboard is usable. I mean, you can use it in songs, you can use it in records. I mean, they're all usable. It's rare that you find a keyboard that you can actually use all the sounds. So that's another thing I love about the ES. All the sounds, even sounds that are in other keyboards. I mean, you'll play them in other keyboards and they just don't feel right. But coming through the ES, I mean, they just sound rich and ready to be recorded. And again, that's just my opinion. I love the fact that the ES, the output level of the ES is very strong. I've played on other keyboards where the output is not that strong, and you have to use other audio interface to get that strong sound. But naturally with the ES, the sound is just a strong signal coming out. I mean, it's I love the layout. It just seems natural. Everything you need is just right at your fingertips. The sequencer is real nice, and like I said, that reverb that they have in this is just stellar and just up to the audio market demand. So it's a great keyboard. I really love it. So I guess you can tell which one is the king of the Motif series. And again, this is my opinion. So I'm sure you have your own opinion as to which Motif is the king. But I just tend to really love the ES series. What else do I love about the Motif? And as you can see here, the 8, I have the Motif ES8, and you have somewhere that you can rest your laptop or your iPad. Just give you that space right there. What else do I love about the Motif? Well, what I don't like is that it's so darn heavy. I mean, it's hard to move from one location to the next. So that's one of the things that I don't really like about the ES. And another thing is that I would say the only downfall to this keyboard is that when you start layering sounds, when you have like 4 sounds layered, I mean, you'll find sounds start falling out when you're playing. I mean, it's much better than the original Motif, the classic, but still you'll find that notes will fall out if you have too many sounds layered. I mean, there are ways to get around that, because you can, set the layer point, how far you want the sound to come, so it's not going all the way across the keyboard. So for instance, you can have if you're playing a worship, you have piano, pads, strings, and maybe bells or whatever. So of course your piano go all the way across. Now your pad, you can have your pad come up to probably C5 or C4 or in there. Then you can start your strings at probably G4 or so, and carry it all the way up. So everything is not running all across the keyboard. And your bells, you can put it wherever you want, but you don't have to have your bells all the way across the keyboard. So that's a way to get around it. So I'm still stuck with the ES in terms of the Motif series. And yes, you like to upgrade to maybe a Montage with greater possibilities and greater room to upgrade and to do greater stuff. The Motif series is all done. It's all discontinued. Of course, they have the stripped down version, as we normally say, of the Motif, but they're not making any Motifs again. They're now in the Montage series. Now the Montage series, great keyboard. I've played the the Montage, original Montage, and I've played the Montage M, which is a new one that came out a few months ago. So in the next video, I may do a comparison to the original Montage and the new Montage M. So the king of the Motif series for me is the ES. So I hope you'll love this video and don't be too harsh in the comment section. All right, so peace and see you on the next one. Don't be too harsh in the comment section. Keep it Christian. So thank you for listening to this video, and I'll see you on the next one. And let me know which one of the Motif series is your favorite, which one you think is the king of the Motif series. Peace out. See you on the next one. Thanks for viewing. Appreciate all of you, all of my subscribers, all those who pay attention to my videos. I really, truly appreciate it. It means a lot, and I'm really, truly grateful for all your support. So God bless. See you on the next one. Peace out. Love you all, and thanks for watching.